Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd Chrisley worried about Julie's health amid devastating news. Todd Chrisley is worried about Julie Chrisley's health after receiving devastating news. His attorney spoke on behalf of Todd. Julie's family is also worried about her. The two are currently in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. They are both serving time for their crime. Keep reading to find out more about this. Julie Chrisley and her resentencing hearing. Julie Chrisley was granted a resentencing hearing. The court did not feel as though they had gathered enough evidence to sentence her. However, a lot happened during this hearing. Julie requested to attend the hearing over Zoom, so she did not have to travel that far. That request was denied along with the requests to wear street clothes during court and a 24-hour furlough. Julie was ultimately sentenced to the same 84 months that she originally received. This was heartbreaking for her children and family. Todd Chrisley is worried for his wife. Todd Chrisley is now worried for his wife. After she received the devastating news that she would not get her sentence shortened, he spoke out about and said he was concerned about Julie's health and welfare. They did not go into detail about the worries for her health. However, earlier this year, Savannah revealed that her mother may have a tumor. This could be what Todd was talking about. However, it is unknown if something more happened that others are unaware of. Regardless, Savannah has made it a point that she is going to keep trying to get her mother's freedom. It seems that Julie may have a tumor or something else wrong with her. This is scary for someone to go through in general, let alone in prison. So after hearing that Julie will not be released any earlier, Todd is concerned for his wife. Some people do believe this was all Todd's doing and Julie had no idea what she was signing. Todd Chrisley, known for his quick wit and glamorous lifestyle on Chrisley Knows Best, has always been a picture of composure, even in the face of adversity. But recent developments have left him shaken in a way fans haven't seen before. For years, Todd has faced challenges that would break many: financial woes, legal troubles, and public scrutiny. Yet nothing prepared him for the devastation that came with Julie's recent health scare, which has turned their world upside down. It was a typical evening in the Chrisley household. Todd and Julie had just finished filming a segment for their podcast, Chrisley Confessions, where they often bantered about family life, faith, and the challenges they'd faced together. But behind the smiles and witty remarks, Todd had been growing increasingly concerned about his wife's health. Over the past few months, Julie had complained of feeling unusually fatigued, her energy waning in ways that were unfamiliar for the vibrant and lively matriarch. At first, Julie brushed it off as the stress of their ongoing legal battles, mixed with the pressures of maintaining their public image. After all, they were no strangers to scrutiny and had been in the public eye for years, each new headline another weight on their shoulders. But Todd, ever the protective husband, couldn't shake the feeling that something more serious was at play. The devastating news came after a routine checkup turned into a series of tests. Julie's doctor, who had been monitoring her closely, delivered the blow neither of them had been expecting. What began as fatigue had revealed something far more concerning: a serious health condition that demanded immediate attention. Todd, usually the rock of the family, felt his world tilt. In that moment, the reality that he might lose his partner, his confidant, his soulmate, became unbearably real. For Todd, the thought of Julie suffering was a nightmare he couldn't fathom. She had always been his anchor, the calm in the storm that was their whirlwind life. They had faced so much together, from raising their 5 children, Savannah, Chase, Grayson, Lindsay, and Kyle, to navigating the highs and lows of fame. But this was different. This was a battle they hadn't prepared for, one that hit closer to home than any lawsuit or tabloid scandal ever could. As Julie began treatment, Todd found himself in unfamiliar territory. He had always been the one in control, the one making decisions and guiding his family through crises with a steady hand. But now he was helpless, forced to watch as Julie struggled with the toll that both the illness and the treatment were taking on her body. Her once radiant smile had dimmed, and though she tried to stay strong for him and the kids, Todd could see the fear in her eyes. Todd Chrisley worried about Julie's health amid devastating news. "It's hard to believe he's gone," Robbie was overheard saying, his voice thick with emotion. He had his struggles, we all knew that, but Frank was one of a kind. No one could pick like him. He had this instinct, knew the value of things without even looking them up. It's like he could just feel the history behind every item. A nearby friend, wearing a faded ball cap and sunglasses, nodded in agreement. He had a good heart too. Didn't matter what was going on, Frank was always willing to sit down and chat, have a beer, share a story. I think that's what people loved about him most. He was real, and he never tried to be something he wasn't. Robbie let out a sigh, looking down at the worn pavement beneath his boots. The antique world had changed a lot since the early days of American pickers. What started as a passion for finding treasures in forgotten barns and dusty attics had turned into a cultural phenomenon, one that brought fame and fortune but also its share of heartache. Frank's departure from the show and his subsequent health issues were reminders of the personal costs that often accompany public success. Frank never really liked all the fame, Robbie continued, his voice quiet but steady. He loved the picking, the finding of something old and giving it a new life. That was Frank. He didn't care about the cameras, the fame, or the drama. He just wanted to find cool stuff and share that joy with people. It's a damn shame he didn't get to do that more in the end. A somber silence hung over the group for a moment as they reflected on the weight of Robbie's words. Frank had indeed struggled with health issues, and in the months leading up to his passing, there had been public concerns about his well-being. His fans had rallied behind him, but the distance between him and the show only grew. The sense of loss wasn't just for the man but also for the years and adventures that could have been. One of the men standing beside Robbie, who had worked with him on a few pickings in the past, spoke up. "Do you think Michael'll say something, about the show and everything that went down?" Robbie shrugged, a faint grimace crossing his face. "I don't know, man. I hope so. Whatever happened between them, they were like brothers once. That kind of bond doesn't just disappear. Mike's hurting too, even if he's not saying it right now." The tension between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz had been well documented, but Robbie, as Mike's brother, was in a uniquely difficult position. He had always been supportive of both men, but as Frank's health issues worsened and their friendship deteriorated, the lines became blurred. Now, with Frank gone, it seemed like the end of an era not just for the show, but for a chapter of their lives that could never be rewritten. As the afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the parking lot, Robbie finally pulled away from the group. He walked slowly back toward his shop, his hands resting on his hips, eyes fixed on the collection of vintage signs and rusted bicycles that lined the walls. Inside those walls were years of memories, a lifetime of stories, and now, a haunting reminder that not all tales end the way you expect. Before he disappeared inside, Robbie turned back to his friends. "Let's have a toast for Frank later," he said, his voice low but resolute. "He'd want us to remember the good times. He'd want us to keep picking." The small group nodded in agreement, but there was no denying the sadness in their faces. Frank Fritz had left behind more than just antiques and a spot on a TV show. He had left behind a legacy, one that Robbie and the rest of the picking community would carry with them for years to come.